Hello subscribers, I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we'll be reviewing the Mattel Ark Survival Spinosaurus. My apologies, I meant we'll be reviewing the Mattel Jurassic World Sea Dragon. I'm sorry guys, all jokes aside, we'll be reviewing another Mattel Jurassic World Dominion figure, and it's this Spinosaurus crocodile barracuda abomination that Mattel is calling a Siamosaurus. When they announced that they were going to make this species, I was quite excited. It's yet another Spinosaur to be added to the Mattel Jurassic World line alongside the green Ichthyovinator. But when Generation Jurassic rolled around and they revealed that concept art, I was kind of getting concerned. I did not like that quadrupedal pose, but I decided to give it a chance. It could look better, and once those stock images were released, I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world is that? So let's take a quick look at the packaging before we go over the toy itself. Even though this Siamosaurus may not look that good, this Dominion packaging is always going to look great, especially with the nighttime background, the dark trees, the render of Rexy the Tyrannosaurus, and of course the front with the beautiful amber color. On this side, you got a render of the Pyroraptor, one of the ugliest dinosaurs in the franchise. And right here you got the Dominion logo, which is just the T-Rex skeleton, not the title. And on the back, you got Jurassic World Dominion logo once again, the dark background, a render of the figure and its action feature, and some instructions on how to scan the code to add this dinosaur to your game. Though last time I checked the app, the Siamosaurus alongside a couple of the new dinosaurs weren't on there, but it should be added soon. Then on the bottom left, you got a picture of another massive action figure, the Wave 2 Ankylosaurus, a sauropod. I'm not a huge fan of that figure, the plastic is cheap, and the proportions are kind of funky, but I still like it more than this Siamosaurus. So let's waste no time and get this monstrosity of a dinosaur out of the packaging. Here is the new Spinosaurus out of the packaging, and I have to say, it definitely does look unique amongst the other Jurassic World toys. You can tell that Mattel got really creative with this one, but just by looking at some features of the sculpt, it seems like they got too creative. Starting off with the head sculpt, even though it's very stylized, it still looks like that of a Spinosaurus, especially with the elongated snout and the crests. And of course, around the eye and the nose area, there's the typical Jurassic World dinosaur shrink wrapping. And by looking at you can see that there's a lot of detailing on both the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Then there's the interior of the mouth, which has some detailing, but it's mainly just smooth. And the teeth are individually sculpted, but you may notice one problem right away. Yes, the teeth continue so far down the maxilla, and I do not like that. It should have stopped at this tooth right here. And going down the figure, there's actually a lot of crispy scale detailing, and you can see that the fish-like fin is starting to form at the back of the head, and then there's the fin right there. See, it's very thin, similar to that of a fish, and there it is down the tail as well. And also, across the body, there's these thicker osteoderms, and there's even some thicker scales on the legs and the arms. And strangely, on the hands and feet, there's 4 digits. And on the underbelly, there's actually detailing, and you can see it looks very much like the underbelly of a crocodile. So by looking at this underbelly, the 4 digits on the hands and the feet, and the broad snout, it can be shown that there's a lot of crocodile DNA in this Siamosaurus. Now let's talk about this quadrupedal stance. I do not like it. I mean, it does look like it's crouching down, but I would have preferred if it was in a fully bipedal stance like many Google images of this dinosaur. And this four-legged posture, combined with the thick scales across the body and the fish-like fins on the back and the tail, really makes this resemble a sea dragon, like I jokingly stated at the beginning of this video. And I don't know if you guys have kept it with Safari Ltd's dragons, but if you do, you may recall that they've released a sea dragon figure, and I always think of that when I see this dinosaur. Moving on to the paint job, the vast majority of the figure consists of a dark blue color. There's red on the sail and the upper jaw, and an orange sandy color on the bottom jaw and the bottom of the neck. I actually do like this choice of colors, as it suits the aquatic appearance of this animal, but it's the fact that they didn't even apply the paint to some areas is truly disappointing. For example, you can see that the sail is red, and some other parts of the sail are not painted at all. The least they could have done is paint the fins on the tail red. The underbelly suffers from the same problem. You can see that there's no sandy color, it's just completely bare. Mattel is getting really lazy when it comes to paint jobs. It's evident by many of the new Dominion toys. Unfortunately, the colors on some of the upcoming Dino Tracker figures do not look any better. When it comes to articulation, it has what you expect on a dinosaur figure. The arms can move and both of them are on a ball joint. The legs can move as well as both of the ankles. So that makes 6 points of articulation, well 7 if you want to count the tail that's connected to the gimmick. So since this is part of the massive action assortment, moving the tail controls the head and neck, and pressing the button controls the jaw. I do agree that this action feature works quite well. It does feel a little bit stronger than the Siamosaurus. Let's do some quick measurements with the flexible ruler. You can see that this toy is well over a foot long. I would say it's about 14 inches long. As for a height, it's about 3.5 inches at the tip of its head, and about 5 inches at the tip of its sail. Starting off with our comparisons, here are the other Mattel Jurassic World Spinosaurids. The Baryonyx, Irritator, Suchomimus, and of course, Spinosaurus itself. Like I've already said before, we have one more Spinosaurid, which is the Soundstrike Ichthyovenator. Up next, we have the other massive action figures, the Wave 1 Quetzalcoatlus and Yanchuanosaurus, and the Wave 2 Ampulosaurus. Out of these four, my favorite would have to be the Yanchuanosaurus. I really like that detailing and color scheme. The Quetzalcoatlus is my second favorite. It's quite movie accurate, and I like its gimmick. The Ampulosaurus, it's really not that great of a figure, and the Siamosaurus is of course easily my least favorite. Next, we have the new sculpts from the first and second waves of Roar Strikers. This Siamosaurus is actually one of the smaller $20 dinosaurs. It's not that much bigger than these $15 toys. Let's bring out the Dimetrodon, which this Siamosaurus also bears a resemblance to. And here is the Legacy Collection Cosmoceratops and the Extreme Damage Quilmesaurus. Next, here's the Soundslash and Therizinosaurus and the Roarin' Allosaurus. Lastly, for Mattel Jurassic World comparisons, here is the Siamosaurus next to the Hammond Collection dinosaurs. The final comparison for this video is going to be with the Collectae-Xiphactinus and the Collectae Mini-Xiphactinus. Well, that wraps up my review on the Mattel Jurassic World Dominion Massive Action Siamosaurus. You guys can tell that I really do not like this figure. I actually have to say, in my opinion, this is one of the worst Mattel Jurassic World toys ever. It's right up there with the Tapejara, the Moros, and the Miragaia. That head sculpt is too cartoony, and I really hate how the teeth continue so far down the maxilla. That, combined with the 4 digits on the hands and the feet, the quadrupedal stance, the thick scales, and the fish-like fins, makes this resemble a dragon more than a dinosaur. And of course, the paint is so lazily done, there's no paint on the tail fins, and the underbelly is completely bare. And I know what you guys are saying. Darian, if you hate this thing so much, then why did you buy it? Well, for one, it's a new species, an obscure one to be exact, and I'm a completist when it comes to these new species. I want to have at least one of each. So, if I had to give this a rating, I would say it gets a 3.5 out of 10. Easily one of my least favorites of the Mattel Jurassic World Dominion line, and just the Mattel Jurassic World line in general. If you want this, get it on Amazon for about $20. I doubt it's going to show up in stores anytime soon, given that the Ampulosaurus has just started showing up. So, if you guys enjoyed this review, hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know in the comment section about what you think of this quote-unquote dinosaur.